Inori, I'm sorry, but you can do better.
No, and he can do better because he's a fantastic Pro Tools player, and that's something we both know, and you guys at home know it as well. Since you guys have seen him, Ben, if the only thing I can ever do in my career as a StarCraft II player is beat Stefano in the MLG, I am done. Like, I want to hear about that for the rest of my life. The day that I die, I want them to remember me as the guy who took out Stefano in MLG. So I have lots of respect for him.
Usually when you start a story with, if there's only one thing that I need to achieve in my career, it's like a realistic, attainable goal, Kev. Yeah. No offense to you, but Stefano's basically the best player in the world that's not from Korea.
I know. I agree with that.
So, like, that would kind of be like me saying, Kev, if the only thing I really need to call my life a success is $1 billion.
I can see
Once I make $1 billion, I am done. I'm never working again.
I can see that happen, Ben. You have the mind of a businessman. But you need a reliable sidekick. I am worried. I don't think you can handle all the responsibilities alone. Other than that, I can see you
might need some help spending that money.
That as well. Hey, if you don't spend money, you can never make more money. Nobody has ever got rich without spending money. Yeah, even if you win the lottery, you spend money buying.
What about Jed Clampett?
Who is that?
From the Beverly Hillbillies.
What did he do?
Hang on, I gotta remember the song.
Well, he probably bought a guitar.
How does this story go? But a man named Jed. Da 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 da.
Right now, guys, we have our switcher
slash
sound guy singing in our ears. So we were very, very closely listening to him. I have no idea what he was singing about.
Okay, so anyway, the Beverly Hillbillies is an old show that was on in like the 80s, where about this like guy. He was a hillbilly. You know what a hillbilly is?
Yeah, that's sort of typical redneck.
Yeah, that's one like typically you associate redneck with somebody in the South. Yeah. A hillbilly doesn't necessarily have to be so ethnocentric.
From the Midwest?
No, it can be from anywhere.
Okay.
It can be a Southern hillbilly or a Canadian hillbilly.
But kind of like a hipster.
Yeah.
Like an Instagram hipster.
Remember, have you seen that meme where it's like...
You know, today, Ben, I did something very bad. I still have mixed feelings about it. I took a picture of my meal with Instagram. I feel the end is near.
Wow. You said I took a picture and I had a Destiny flashback.
Oh. No. With Instagram, that would look probably pretty good.
Anyway, so you saw the internet meme of the guy that has the bear on his head? And it's like, a bear messed with me. And then down below it says, once. And he's like wearing the bear head. That's a pretty good example of a hillbilly.
Yeah.
So the Beverly Hillbillies is a story about a hillbilly who was out in the woods hunting, and he shot at a deer, and he missed it. But instead, he struck oil, and he made millions of dollars.
Yeah, but he still bought a gun.
We don't know that.
Well, we know what... Okay, let's not talk about that. We're looking at the openings right now. Of course, TSL Inori is our Korean Pro Tool spawning on the left bottom side of Cloud Kingdom, while MVP, the SC, is our Korean Terran, who had a very convincing and strong win in game number 1. I love, by the way, Ben, that Terrans more and more start mixing up their timings against Pro Tools. Either they do it something like in the last game, they go without medevacs, or they do go with medevacs but never go up to 3 bases. Then that push is suddenly 10 times scary. And what I also love, okay, now this time he's really switching it up, he's going for an economic build. What I also really love is how I've seen a lot of Terrans play lately, even if they open up very standard, let's say 2 medevacs full of Synth Bio units, that's normally the moment where either you want to attack at the front or you want to drop. But the moment they see, okay, he left Stalkers in the main because he's a good Protoss player, they just don't do it. They cruise around, but they prevent Protoss from going up to 3 bases, while Terran goes up to 3 bases before Protoss. And I think either of the 3 is just really, really smart. And Terran players are making the life on Protoss players again a little bit more difficult than it was, I would say, roughly 2 months ago.
I feel like Terrans are starting to figure things out a little more. And I mean, David Kim said it best. Terrans getting all the good results. Clearly there's no issues with balance in StarCraft II.
I really loved when we interviewed a certain person from Blizzard. I'm not calling out anyone. They said like, yeah, but we see Terrans do excellent. They're still breaking into the top 8 every now and then. I was like, yeah, that's why they are so mad, man. Because there's only one Terran in the top 8 in every tournament. It really made me laugh inside. But hey, I mean,
fun interview.
At the end of the day, Teja and MVP are kind of ruining the fun for the Terran players, man. There's always this one guy that makes life worse. Like the guy that you love and hate.
Yep, season 1 of the GSL, I was like secretly rooting against Fruit Dealer because him losing would have meant that Zerg really was really bad, and if it was terrible. but of course he proved that.
I think people just didn't know how to play Zerg.
No, man, Zerg was so bad.
Zerg was fine, but
Roaches had like one range.
well, there was also one supply. Just
no, that wasn't since the beta. They fixed that in beta.
So the Inori is still completely unaware of the fact that our Terran player did go up to triple orbital. He's having a very quick robo, and once more, Ben, he's going to go for the exact same follow-up, the Twilight Console and the Forge. His robo is a little bit quicker. I just hope that... I mean, if you open up like this, I really don't mind it at all. I think it's a completely fine opening, but then don't drop the robo bay, because that just takes too long before you get those Colossus out. Now, of course, who am I to criticize Inori's strategy? I wouldn't dare in my wildest dreams. I just wonder about it, and I'm sure the people at home are wondering as well. Why would you open up like this, then get the robo bay? Well, you can just get the robo bay a little bit quicker.
I mean, it's a conversation we've actually had a lot over over the months, I guess.
Trying to put it together is just, okay, he wants to get a couple of Blink Stalkers out, because maybe if he goes up straight to Robo, he's afraid he gets dropped and he's not able to split up his units properly. So rather get Blink Stalkers first, try to intercept the drop, and then get Colossus as well, as he's doing the exact same thing once more. So this must be a build that he somehow feels comfortable with, but I've got mixed feelings.
I mean, Inori's not the only Protoss we've ever seen try to do this, Kev. But you're right, there's the Robo Bay going down. But it is risky. It leaves you very susceptible to aggression, and well, I guess he's luckier this time because SC is definitely not playing the same style he played on Daybreak.
Nope, and that was of course a little bit of a hard counter as well. So we'll see. But what I actually would like, if he just delays the Robo Bay a little bit, is that you can use that robotics facility for so many observers, and we've seen all Terrans these days. Whenever they see an observer, they scan. Well, Ben, to tell you the truth, I don't really mind if my economy is good and I have a robotics facility that I don't use to trade observers for scans. Hey, you can take that 75 gas all day long. If I go up to 4 and then even 6 bases because I feel safe because I have lots of gates, charge and blink, I don't think it's necessarily a bad trade.
That's an interesting way of thinking about it, and one that I haven't necessarily thought about in the past.
Like, it depends really a lot. If you go with something that includes Immortals or Colossus, then you don't want to lose your observers because you want to use that robo for other stuff. But if that robo is just inactive, man, you can snipe my observers. I got 4 more. I got observers for days.
I really think if you're not going to be building anything in the robo, you should always be making observers, man. Why is it ever bad to have 6 observers?
It's not. 6 is really, like, it's not even a massive overkill. I would always like to have, if I don't play robotics facility intensive style, I like to get an observer over here. I like to get an observer over here, or like Pylon in this case does pretty much the same trick. But you just get an observer over here, one in the middle of the map, and then one closer to his army, and maybe one to keep track of his army. Anyways, we see both players just macroing up. We have 22 Marines, 8 Marauders, 2 Medevacs against 5 Zealots, 6 Stalkers, 4 Sentries. First Colossus is on the way, but once more, this army is actually a little bit scary. With Force Shields, I guess he will be fine, and the Colossus is joining in the mix now as well, so that helps out a ton.
Yeah, it's a small Protoss army and a large Terran army, but with good force fit, I think you're right. He should be able.
But if those Sim Marauders get in range of the Colossus, it actually gets a little bit tricky. Turbulence is not ready yet, Ben. That means they have the same range.
Yeah, those are pretty good force fields, though, Kev. And the Marauders are not able to hit that Colossus. It does lose a little bit of its shield, but I think Inori is going to be just fine.
Yep, nice micro so far by Inori, keeping that Colossus alive. He knows how important it is. Zealot's doing a really good job. These Marauders are working on the Stalkers right now. Quite some Stalkers did go down. That wasn't terrible for SC though.
He traded fairly cost effectively. If we look at resources lost, we can see that he actually invested less in that attack than Inori did in defending it. But at the same time, Inori does successfully secure this 3rd base. And now he's moving into the phase of the game where his army is going to be really, really scary. We're probably going to see Templar Archives and Storms coming pretty soon.
That's so true. And also, I think Union's last resource step is always a little bit deceiving because sentries are very expensive. And losing sentries, yes, that's not nice. You rather keep them alive. But it's also not the end of the world once you have those Colossus out. Certainly once the Colossus count goes up, you don't really need forces anymore to keep them alive because everything else will keep them alive. Certainly charge slots. So overall, good defense by Inori, good fight for the Inori, but not absolutely terrible for the SC.
Yeah, that's another cool point that you made there, Kev. And one that I don't think gets talked about very often is there comes a point in the game where you don't need 12 sentries.
No.
You don't even really need more than 4, I would say.
You just need Guardian Shield.
Yeah.
And of course, a Force Field 2 is always nice, but...
But in fact, if you overinvest in sentries late game, it can actually work against you quite a bit because you'll have less damage output, and there's only so much you can do with Guardian Shield and Force Field.
This is once more one of those moments where he does need some Force Fields though, and he has Blink, so he could have potentially blinked forward a little bit, tried to pick off a Viking or two, but didn't want to risk losing his Stalkers. Man, the SC is playing aggressive yet super economic. That's great.
I like it. I really like playstyles like this that allow him to make attempts at just winning the game outright, but that don't really put him in any sort of compromised position. There's some Stalkers do blink forward, killing a handful of bio there.
And only one Stalker gets lost in the process. Other one loses some HP. Nice pick of that by Inori. Observer helping out.
But you look at gameplay like this, Kev, like what we're seeing from the SC, this very aggressive while always expanding style of play, and you say to yourself, this is just solid. This is going to be like a standard, and this is a bit of the standard in the matchup. Yep,
it's only if you do too many games in a row, Protoss players go up to 3 bases a lot quicker. As we saw what the problem was for Empire Cass back in the days when he kept opening triple orbital and people just started blind countering him. That's why you still have to switch up your play. But if you are not known for doing this, this is just an excellent opening, and this is a really good game so far by the SC. And as I said, doesn't necessarily put him ahead. He's just playing a good game. This is standard, this is solid.
Yep, he's hitting all of his transitions. Ghost production's already begun as we see the Templar Archives finishing up. There aren't any, okay, there's a single Archon out now and a couple of Templar also on the map. So these Ghosts are going to be very, very relevant when the fighting does start. Both players are going to max at about the same time. But the Protoss army, man, it's getting awful scary.
It is. Storm is ready now as well. We see three upgrades even already on the way for Protoss. So he has two upgrades, Colossus and Storm. That's always a super scary moment for Terran. A couple of Zealots are making their way over into this sort of exposed third base. There was a bunker over here with the Marauder and now as well 2 Marines in it. Before it was just a Marauder.
Yep. And that will, of course, deal with the Zealot harass. Not much being really lost there. Big fight starting to shape up outside SC's 4th base, and that's a pretty nice engagement for the Protoss player. Wow, really great Storms.
Really sick Storms, and those Zealots were in excellent position, but still, most of the Zealots are down right now. Colossus starting to take some serious damage. There are still so many Vikings alive.
Wow, those Vikings going pretty much untouched. The Stalker count was really thinned out rapidly, and SC, who looks like he was going to lose that fight, Kevin, is pushing Protoss all the way back to his 3rd base. He's probably going to have to cancel this command or this Nexus.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to cancel it, and he will cancel that. Wow, that would be awesome if we could take another look at that fight after the game is done, because that was a very interesting fight. I thought those Zealots were in perfect position. That Storm seemed serious, but I felt that perhaps he didn't have enough NTI to deal with the Vikings.
Yeah, either the Stalker count just wasn't there or the Stalkers died too fast. I'm not sure which. We see SC again pushing up into this 3rd expansion, and he might have an... Oh, actually no, the Zealot warp in forces him back once more.
But there are still so many reinforcements for the SC on the map right now. It's 112 army supply against 62. Massive. That's a massive lead.
Yeah, looking really good for SC right now. All he really needs to do is just kind of stabilize. Guys, we're going to take another look at that big fight right now, so we've got a little bit of a lull here.
Unless the SC decides to attack right now, so I'm a little bit worried about that. Because he's moving forward once more. So we are still watching it, of course, on my main screen in the right bottom. You guys can see, but Ben, go ahead, take a look.
Yep, just the Zealots engaging so very well. The Vikings untouched, and there just really wasn't a Stalker count. We've got to snap back into the main game, though, as a big fight is unfolding here at the ramp of the 3rd base. That's another pretty good fight for Protoss. His Zealots just absorbing all the damage.
And Archon's dealing some serious damage on these medevacs as well. That's always nice. Most of those medevacs are falling right now. That was a great hold by Inori. So that's one more thing we can take a look at later on. I'm not even sure if that's possible with our technology. Ben, do you think our technology is there yet?
We have the technology. We can rebuild it. Kevin, I have to feel like the SC is trying to cram a round object through a square hole right now. He keeps attacking into that 3rd base kind of, I don't know, stubbornly.
And he didn't have to at all. He was up to 4 bases. He had a better economy.
Could have attacked at the other 4th base, could have attacked at the natural, could have dropped. But instead, he just keeps running right into this Protoss army. And after 2 bad engagements, he's kind of in an awkward position. And Inori now in a supply lead.
Certainly, that last fight went terrible for the SC. Absolutely terrible.
Colossi able to start working on this this expansion.
A couple of low HP Marauders there as well. They are kind of trapped.
Hotel California, Kev.
Hostile.
Human centipede.
Ew. Nobody likes it. I've never met a person who liked the human centipede.
I've never seen it. Did you watch the movie?
Yes, I watched it.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Me too. I'm sorry for the guy who made it. He has a sick mind. They should take away his license that allows him to create videos and movies.
I think actually they took away the license to show that movie in certain countries. Another attack coming here from Inori. SC is going to try to back up to this planetary, but man, there is so much Protoss.
Oh, that's a nice EMP.
Fantastic.
That's actually EMP that makes it a little bit closer again. But look at High Templar starting to stream in right now, Ben. And SC lost quite a few ghosts as well. I must say, SC played a great game, but a couple of times his EMPs were a little bit off. Now this EMP was great, of course, but I saw some EMPs go up in thin air as well.
Probably going to be our final engagement. Wow, that storm. SC doesn't even try to micro, and as a result is completely crushed. Another great storm from Inori. I think he's going to win this game. It looks pretty over to me right now.
Yep, it looks pretty damn over. Inori is going to take this game while he was in toss shape. He was down 50 army supply, and somehow he turned it around and won it. That's crazy.
Certainly, I think SC made a couple of mistakes, but Inori doing an excellent job capitalizing on those mistakes and positioning himself in a position to sort of make those things, those attacks turn into mistakes. Because if Inori's not in position for it, all of a sudden those attacks are brilliant. And Protoss is just going to walk right up to the Terran's third base now.
This is the moment of glory, man, when you play Protoss.
Yep, SCVs against Colossus. That makes every Protoss player happy. SC taps out. GG is called.
Wow. Really interesting games. Let's take another look at one of the big fights in that game immediately.
Yep, this is the big fight up that third ramp when we were trying to watch the first replay. And the Zealots and Archons just creating this death choke.
So many Zealots suddenly.
It's like the,
where did they come from?
It's like the meat grinder, man, where you see like the two spiky things that are spinning next to each other. That's what that was, man. It was a psionic meat grinder.
It was crazy.
With Archons and
you
Zealots.
Know, it was cray.
It was cray. That was officially cray.
Ain't it, Jay? Alright, guys. We're going to head over to a small commercial break. And we'll be right back with game number 3 between the SC and Inori.